Let's now take you back to one of our top stories where the World Economic Forum's president has said that the Indian economy can sustain high levels of growth for years and become a 10 trillion USD economy in the coming 2 decades. Joining us now to talk about is Dr. Nilanjan Banik, a senior economist. Good evening to you, Dr. Banik. What do you make of that forecast, that prediction in the first place?
I think India is one of the fastest growing large economies, so this forecast in a way doesn't surprise me. If you look into the structural nature of the Indian economy, we are one of the, in terms of demographic profiling, we are one of the youngest population. We have one of the youngest population in the world. Alongside that, another important thing that you should also consider, 2/3 of our domestic economic activities are driven by activities which does not depend upon the foreign economy. For instance, when you have war in Russia and Ukraine, or for that matter, the war in the Middle East, we have enough of economic activities going inside our economy, be it construction, be it healthcare, be it education, be it tourism, which is enough to fuel the growth that we are seeing at the moment. In addition to that, one of the things which has happened in recent time, our construction activities are actually booming, be it the construction in the private sector or for that matter, the capital expenditure that the government is initiating. So we are seeing lots of roads, ports, airports, and railways system being built. What does that mean? It means that in terms of doing business, the cost of doing business is coming down. Not only that, because we are seeing so much of construction activities happening around the economy in India, it is also creating lots of employment opportunity. Because as you know that next to agriculture, construction sector is the most important way to absorb not so skilled type of labors, and that is having a salutary effect. In addition to that, the government idea of this JAM Trinity, Jan Dhan account, mobile banking, as well as trying to initiate the spread of internet, is creating an opportunity for small retailers, small MSME sector, as well as the small roadside mom and pop stores.
Yes.
So basically,
you mentioned reforms, and even the WF president, has said, Borge Brend has said that this sort of a forecast stands in case the reforms continue. He said India is in a very sweet spot. To quote him, of course, reforms should have to continue in India. Reforms related to education, funding, and reforms to tackle unnecessary red tape should continue. So what sort of reforms do you think he was hinting at?
So one is trying to understand how to minimize the cost of doing business, because if you look into the World Bank cost of doing business report, over a period of time, India has actually improved its ranking. So it's clearly showcased that if you were to do business in India, be it any states, now each one of the states are trying to compete with one another in terms of creating a single window process. So for instance, if you are trying to do a business, if you talk to any state government official, they will tell you that you actually get the land in a developed state. They are going to give you connection to electricity, they are going to give you connection to water, sewerage, stuff like that. So what does it mean? That the cost of doing business in India itself is coming down, and thanks to the capital expenditure that the government is undertaking, even if you are opening up a factory in Muzaffarpur or for that matter in rural hinterland in UP, it does not take that much time for you to ship those finished products to the port city of, let's say, Mumbai or Tuticorin or Kandla or let's say any other port city like Haldia.
Right.
So basically, what it is actually hinting is a more uniform regional growth that we are seeing at this point of time.
Okay, and what do you make of this latest survey that's been released ahead of the WF meet of global economists, where it's being said that geopolitical strife and tight financing conditions will slow global economic growth, while AI will increase inequality? What sort of challenges could it pose for India and its economic growth?
So inequality is a cause of concern not only for India, because even if you look into bigger economies like US or China, we actually measure inequality in terms of Gini coefficient. But in terms of, if you look into the Gini coefficient numbers for US and China, it is much higher than India. The good news is that in case of India, thanks to all the government subsidy programs and all the government undertaking, all this initiative in terms of GeM Trinity, which I just now mentioned, it is actually creating an environment for the smaller retailers, smaller MSME sector, to do their business and to create a credit profile for themselves, And precisely because of that, you see the retail loan, which are otherwise not growing that fast. In recent years, it is growing faster because the moment I actually do my transaction using Google Pay or GPay, I'm actually creating a credit history for the roadside retailer or the smaller mom and pop stores. So the bank now are willing to give loan to this type of small businesses. What it also means is increasingly we are finding the economy is coming from the informal sector to the formal sector, which is also going to have an impact in terms of increasing not only our GDP number, but also growth rate of GDP.
Sounds great. There is some concern related to this being a watershed year for the world's democracies as well, with over 70 countries going to polls. But in India's case, more or less stable situation is supposed to continue with the 2024 general elections here, mostly being forecast as a foregone conclusion in favor of current Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party, the BJP, and the alliance that they have. But we'll see what happens in the months and years to come. Thanks a lot for joining us, Dr. Bisad.